Well, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our AADO Power Hour. You probably got the notification logging in that we are recording this Power Hour for those who want to review it for reference, but also for those who have registered and unable to join us. But I just want to say a good afternoon. My name is Rashonda Mahone. I serve as the board chair for the AADO, African American Development Officers Network. And I don't even know if I can still call myself the Power Hour convener. We've been on a brief hiatus, but we're so excited to be back with everyone and with our topic and speaker this today. In my day job, I should say, I serve as the Associate Vice Chancellor for Alumni Engagement and Annual Giving at North Carolina State University in Raleigh, North Carolina. And so I definitely live, eat, breathe, sleep all things annual giving and recurring giving. So this topic is definitely one that we certainly dissect in so many different ways for our annual giving program at NC State. Um, I wanted to just give a few housekeeping items before I turn it over to our speaker. Um, Today's topic is building recurring revenue, how to start a monthly giving program that works. And if you have questions, I definitely encourage you to use the chat feature. I'll be monitoring them and we'll certainly be raising them as requested, as needed during the presentation. There also will be a moment for us to answer questions at the end of the presentation. So I just want to share that. And at the end, I'll also talk a little bit about AADO, some of our upcoming events and activities. We are looking forward to our second Fundraisers of Color Conference in Atlanta, Georgia, later this year in September. And so without further ado, I am pleased to introduce our speaker, Ronald Pruitt, who is the founder and president of For a Good Cause, the fundraising CRM that makes monthly giving a breeze for small nonprofits. For more than 25 years, Ron has helped launch fundraising campaigns that have raised millions of dollars for nonprofits across the country. His extensive experience has made him an expert on what drives online giving, especially for monthly donations. And we know how important having that consistent and regular giving really helps our programs grow and expand. Ron is passionate about his wife and his kids, and of course, all of his clients. So please join me in welcoming Ronald Pruitt to our AADO Power Hour.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that intro. I'm really excited to be here, honored to be here, and just really excited to talk to everybody about recurring, reliable revenue, which is what we all want. I'm coming at you from Kennesaw, Georgia. Feel free to say hello in the chat, where you guys are from or what organization. Certainly welcome everybody and appreciate you being here. I'm going to share my screen. Make sure there's that button. So I can launch my presentation. Hope everybody sees that now. Hopefully everybody sees that. If not, let us know in the chat. Again, I just really appreciate everybody's time today. My goal is to kind of walk you through a little A to Z on monthly giving. We're going to talk a little bit about kind of some trends and kind of what's happening out in the subscription world. We're going to talk about starting a monthly giving program, why this is important to your nonprofit, how to get started, how to grow a monthly giving program, and I think we'll have time at the end for some questions, and I'll drop some examples and case studies as we go through this. So yeah, you guys got the introduction of me. I've been doing this a long time. My expertise is really in making fundraising easy, really donation pages and websites and interfaces and how we can just use technology to make it really easy for, donors to give. And one of the ways that you can make things easy, both for donors and for staff, is recurring giving. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. So the first thing we're going to do is just kind of look at the landscape of what's going on in nonprofit fundraising with monthly giving. And we're going to look at how donor habits are changing. So if we look at the 2025 M&R benchmark study, this is a study that comes out every year of some rather large nonprofits, and it's a good benchmark to kind of put your own organization against to kind of see how you're doing in fundraising. One of the big things that they found is that from 2023 to 2024, one-time donation giving revenue from one-time gifts was completely flat. No growth from 2023 to 2024. So yeah, donors are still making one-time donations, but if you're looking for growth in 2025, this is probably not a place that you're going to get it. Now, the good news is that monthly giving is on the rise. So in that same report, in the 2025 M&R benchmark study, that showed that monthly giving is up 5% and now accounts for 31% of all online revenue in 2024. So, and this has been happening for a few years now, where one-time giving revenue is flat or down. From 2022 to 2023, it was down. All online revenue was down from that period. Now it's flat, but monthly giving previous year was up 6%. This past year up 5%. So this is not like something that's just happening. This has been going on for a few years. Monthly giving is something that is working for nonprofits. And this can be a really powerful revenue generator for you. If you look at the Totaro 2024 recurring giving benchmark report, they're showing that recurring donors can bring you almost 2.5 times more revenue than single gift donors. This is something that's really, really powerful for you guys. So why is this happening? Donors are used to subscriptions. Think about all the subscriptions that you are currently paying for. I think the average right now for consumers is about 12 subscriptions. I think I probably have about 20. Netflix, Spotify, some like you can't even name probably. There's things like Blue Apron, you get your meals every month. There's so many things that we are subscribing to. That industry, the subscription industry, has just absolutely exploded over the last 10 years, a 435% expansion. This is kind of where all the for-profit businesses have gone. They've kind of trained donors to pay for things monthly to get used to subscriptions, and that is just naturally is working its way into the charitable world. That's why monthly giving is up, while one-time giving might be stagnant. Uh, there are studies that I've seen that show maybe around half of donors are in some type of recurring giving program. This is especially attractive to younger donors who kind of grew up in the subscription economy. Generation Z, like my daughter. This is something that's really easy for donors, and this is just something that they want because they can come in at any level, $5 a month, $10 a month. It's easy for them to budget. They're spreading that gift out. It's something that's completely automatic for them. This is something that donors are leaning into, and if you can meet them where they are, you can take advantage of this trend. Okay, so we know it's good for donors. I'm going to kind of step into how it's very beneficial for your nonprofit, and then we're going to talk about some steps to get started. First thing, why it's good for your nonprofit is you are going to raise more money. Kind of saw that in what I just mentioned about donors, recurring donors bringing you more donations. This is kind of looking at it from the nonprofit side and some statistics that are really going to work in your favor. These are loyal donors giving every month. that just adds up. That adds up over time. Because if you look at the average lifetime value of a recurring donor, it's over $7,600. That's more than double the lifetime value of a single, one-time donor. They're giving to you on average for over 8 years, while that one-time donor might give this year, might give one more donation next year on your annual campaign, and then they're probably going to drop off. I mentioned the loyalty. You're typically seeing retention rates around 83% versus 45% for single gift donors. I know nonprofits that are getting 95% and higher retention rates for their recurring donors. You got to think about how this is so easy for donors. It's automatic. And I'm going to talk about how this really sets you up for relationship building and building community. And that's why these donors just tend to stick around. It's easy and they feel welcome and a part of your mission. And I don't know if you guys have heard kind of the anecdotal stories, but I certainly have heard of the $10 a month donor that stuck around, gave for the 8 years, 10 years, maybe beyond, and that donor got turned into a major donor or a planned donor, planned giving donor. These are really loyal folks, so you can upgrade them into some really big opportunities for your nonprofit. Stats show that they are 6 times more likely to leave your nonprofit in their will complaint compared to a one-time giver. So this is a great revenue, straight up revenue opportunity for your organization to raise more money from this type of donor. The second thing is you're raising more money, but you're bringing it to yourself in a lower cost way, in a reliable way. When you've got steady stream of income coming in, let's say I got 25 monthly donors giving me $25 a month. That's $625 coming to your nonprofit every single month. That is like a base that you can count on. And when you have that, you can plan better. You can budget better. You have to worry less about cash flow. You worry less about a seasonal dip in your fundraising. It gives you that stability that you're looking for. Most of the time, these monthly giving programs are set up to take unrestricted funds. You certainly can set them up for a single program, and I'll actually have an example of that. But most of the time, they're used to fund, general operations so that you can put this money anywhere that you want. Raising money via an automatic draft from the donor's bank account or credit card is certainly a cheaper way to get that than, anything that involves staff time, anything that involves manual planning of a campaign or ad hoc campaigns or big events. So you have lower fundraising costs with monthly giving. And one of the big things that I like is when you have the stable income, you have these gifts running automatically, you're going to see less burden and stress on the staff because they know we have that X dollars are going to come in every single month. We're not always chasing after a brand new donor because we would get this one-time gift and that person would fall off after a couple of years. We have to go get a completely brand new donor. Again, we're always chasing something new. This is going to give you less stress and more time to do what's really important, which is the relationship building that I know you guys want to do. One of the third big reason is probably something that's in everybody's mind right now is monthly giving can protect you from unforeseen events and disasters. We kind of are in a disaster right now in the nonprofit community. We've got the government is saying, well, we are not going to give you the money that we promised you, or we are going to turn off programs and grant funding because we don't like your voice in the community. We don't like what you're saying. We're going to turn that money off. They're also going to turn off benefits to your program participants. So you're getting doubly squeezed. Monthly giving is that reliable income to help you ride out disasters. It makes you less reliant on the one big grant, the one major donor, the one big event that can fall to the wayside during a recession, during a political climate, during anything that might be affecting your nonprofit. It certainly helps smooth out that seasonal or inconsistent fundraising that you might be doing. You know, the one big event and then the end of the year campaign, but nothing in between. This can help smooth that out. I just think monthly giving is kind of smart insurance right now for your nonprofit, because it lowers your risk. If I lose one monthly donor, that doesn't kill my organization in the same way that when the pandemic hit, I had to turn off all my events. Or when one major donor decides, well, I'm not going to fund you guys anymore, I can't do it. Or when that grant gets denied that next year. This is something that minimizes your risk and sets you up pretty well for a 12-month, all year long period. All right, so let's say you're convinced. How am I going to get started? We're kind of going to walk through some setup type items here. The first thing you want to do is get everybody on board. Get your whole team thinking about a recurring first mindset. And what I mean by that is everywhere you are having conversations and asking for donations in person, on social, on email, on your website, that you make monthly giving the priority ask that you are making. A one-time gift becomes secondary to an invitation to join your monthly giving club. That's what I'm talking about. If you come away with nothing else today, that you say, yeah, we want to adopt that mindset. We want to make recurring giving a priority because it has so much benefit for us, then I've done my job today. As you're getting started, you want to pick a team leader. You got to have some accountability on this, someone who's going to report to the board how well you're doing. Anytime you take a new initiative, like a new fundraising channel or method like this, it's a good opportunity to talk to your existing donors. Get a sense of how they feel about your organization, why they give. You're going to use some of that in your marketing and creation of this program. Get some feedback, test the temperature of your donors to see what might prompt them to go from a one-time donation to a regular recurring one. Decide what you're going to fund. Is it going to be for general operations, or are you going to fund a specific program? And set a goal. Set a goal for 6 months and 12 months out. How many monthly donors do you hope to attain? Maybe how much do you hope to raise per month from this channel? Make it something that's attainable and something hopefully that you'll be celebrating. All right, you got everybody on board. Now it's time to put together your monthly giving product. Just in the same way that Netflix and Spotify are products that I, as a consumer, are going to subscribe to, your monthly giving is a product that they are going to subscribe to. Think of your monthly giving program as, they buy in at, let's say, $20 a month. What they get in return, their return for that purchase, is they feel invested in your mission. They are a part of your community going forward and hopefully for the long term. That product, it starts with an offer. The offer part is, what is the price that I'm buying in at, and what is the impact that I'm going to make as a donor at that level? So something like $20 a month provides meals for 5 children, or $10 a month helps fund, classroom supplies, or $25 a month funds tutoring sessions. Not necessarily where you're actually going to spend the money, but you want to give the donor a sense of the impact that they can make. It incentivizes them to give. The more specific you can be, the better. They want to know where their money's going to go. That is your offer. It's typically good to have, well, it's kind of two ways you can go. You can have a single offer, one amount per month, and that's just, you're just hammering that all the time. Other nonprofits would have various levels that describe the impacts that you can come in at each level. And I'll show examples of both of those. You are going to pair your offer with some perks for the donor. Now, I'm not talking about the $100 tote bag. I'm not talking about anything that costs you a lot of money. I'm talking about something that is exclusive for the donor that makes them feel like they're part of this community that you've built. That could be a monthly newsletter just for them. That could be a facility tour where you have them out and show them around. It could be a quarterly Zoom call where you just get them online to say, hey, everybody, thank you. And here's a story about how you're making an impact. Something that's exclusive for them. Sometimes I talk to school foundations and I'm like, a perk you could give would be that everyone who gives, the parents that give to the monthly giving program, get to sit at the front of the assembly. And that didn't cost that nonprofit anything, but boy, that donor feels special. And there should be something exclusive about these donor perks. I do recommend naming your monthly giving program. That gives it a sense of a brand, a sense of belonging. I'm a member of Charity Water's The Spring, so I can say I'm a member of The Spring. I joined The Spring. It gives it like a sense of belonging. It also gives you something that you can promote. That name is something you're trying to build, community around. And I'm going to kind of dive into an example later that really goes into community. But this is everything I'm talking about with this product. It's not going to be transactional. This is not a give me the money. We're going to turn on the automatic giving and you're never going to hear from me. I'm just going to take that money and we're not going to have a relationship. This is all about having relationships and building a community. You're inviting them inside your organization. You're saying you are the most loyal type of donor out there because you're going to give every month and set us up for long-term stability. Come join our community. And we're going to go into some examples of all that. So next thing you want to do as part of your setup is you want to optimize your tech. What you're trying to do here is simply just use technology to make it easy to for a donor to join the program, stay in the program, and hopefully you'll be getting them to upgrade the amounts that they give each month. The easier you make it, the more success that you're going to have. So that starts with building a dedicated page on your site that displays your monthly giving product, that asks people to join the community, that outlines the levels and the perks and everything about what this offer is out to your community. That's going to link to a donation form that should be monthly giving only because they've come right from that page. You want to focus them on a monthly gift. Your main donation page, I would tell you to default to a monthly gift. If you want to be recurring first, which I strongly recommend, you want to go after all this revenue that's available here, default to a monthly gift. You're going to raise more money that way. You're going to get more people enrolled in this option. You're going to make the monthly choice prominent. I say keep the donation form really simple. I don't like it when forms have you configure too many things to set up a monthly donation, like what day of the month and how many iterations and do I want it to end, yes or no. No, keep it simple. Sign up today, we'll charge you same day next month. Simple choices avoids decision fatigue and you'll get more conversions out of that. One thing you want to stress with the tech is you want them to sign up via ACH. Bank accounts typically last for about 17 years for consumers. Credit cards expire every few years. So you're going to help with your donor retention if you have more people on ACH. ACH is also cost you less to process than a credit card. Typically, you're going to save 1 to 1.5% with that. So if you can steer people into ACH, that's great. And then if you have tools to help you convert, one-time givers over to monthly, That's going to help you on the acquisition side. And you, of course, want a donor portal where donors can easily manage that monthly gift. That's going to help you with retention. It's also going to help you with upgrades, getting more from each donor. While we're talking tech, we're going to drop in the chat a link to a checklist that I have. It's a donation page checklist. Like I said, I've built probably thousands of donation pages by now in my 25 plus years of kind of doing tech for nonprofits in a lot of different ways. I started as a web designer. So I've identified almost 100 best practices for a donation page over about 13 categories. So you can kind of walk yourself through this just to kind of see if A is your donation page, using best practices, which are there to help you convert really all donations. And you'll see on there that there is a section that we talk about, we're optimized for, how are you optimizing for monthly giving specifically? So use this as a resource, download this, run through it yourself and feel free to use me as a resource as well. You can always follow up with me and say, hey, can you look at our donation page and tell me what you think? I'm always happy to do those kind of audits. I did one last week for a small nonprofit here in Georgia. All right, since we're talking about the monthly giving product, I actually want to show a couple of examples of a couple of small nonprofits, their monthly giving product and how they are presenting that on the web. So let's go to, we can change my view here. It's always hard to get for me to get around the Zoom stuff here. Hold on, bear with me as I get to, never know how to. There we go. So let's start by looking at the Guardian Angel Basset Rescue. This is a group in Illinois. They rescue Basset hounds, obviously. And let's go to their homepage, actually. So you can see they have a monthly giving program called the BFF, Basset Friends Forever, a fantastic name. Everybody wants to get a BFF. And they spotlight their program here on the homepage. And under their ways to give section of their site, they spotlight it. So this is that dedicated page that I was talking about. So if we walk through their offer, their main offer here is $25 a month. That's what their focus is. And that's going to pay for a rescue hound's basic vet appointment and shots. Really the first thing that they're going to do when they rescue a Basset hound. So they're focused on a single offer, and they paired that to the impact that you're going to make there. This page is really all about storytelling. So they have lots of great photos. They are, kind of giving you kind of an emotional connection of why we love Basset hounds. They're demonstrating what the need is. So I like it a lot if you can go, what's the problem and how you're solving it. So they're doing that. We're talking about the average cost of the veterinary care. They're really, the way they're writing about this, it's really kind of lends itself to basically saying this is a community. The dogs are devoted to us. We're devoted to them. So that, using language like we are, it's like you want to be part of this group that's loyal to the dogs and loyal to this cause. And they've got specific examples, that again, they're showing you the impact. Here's the story of Charlie. They're very specific about, when you give monthly, these are the 3 things that we're going to do with that money. We're going to rescue, we're going to provide the vet care, and we're going to find them homes. As by becoming a monthly donor, you're sponsoring the crucial care our friends need to get healthy and find a permanent home. Love testimonials. This is social proof that there's already people giving in the program. The way this one actually reads as well, it also emphasizes the community that once they started giving monthly, they became part of the GABR family. And you're going to want to emphasize that, that this is, you are creating community. All throughout this page, they do have, the CTA button goes to a donation page where the monthly gift is locked in, and they've highlighted the 25 option to encourage that as your first thought, but they certainly have other levels that you can come in at. So simple example here. And there's not a big lift here. We're talking about one page on the site to really highlight that. That's not a huge lift. And then the stories and the impact that you come up with, you're going to reuse all this in emails and social and all kinds of places. Let's pivot over and take a look at another nonprofit here. This is KidWorks. This is a group in California that gets students ready for college success. And their monthly giving program is called the Honor Roll. So when you think about a name, does it kind of roll off the tongue if you say, I would like to join the Honor Roll, or I am a member of the Honor Roll? I think this one does. In the previous case, you might say, I am a BFF. I think that just rolls off the tongue, and that's kind of how you should think about, naming your monthly giving program. So this is pretty good. I like this kind of opening statement here. Join our group of dedicated monthly donors in the Honor Roll program. I like the word join. I like that you're basically saying, yeah, these are our dedicated supporters. If you believe in what we're doing, this is a great place for you to unleash that belief. CTA button at the top, that's great. A little video that walks you through the impact that you can make. I love their giving levels. Simple. They have a 5, a 10, a 25, and a 50, and then it describes exactly what you can do, the impact that you're going to make at that level. Perks. This is great. What are you going to get for doing this? Exclusive access to quarterly shareholder meetings. So just come on Zoom and you're going to get to talk with the leadership and hear how your dollars are being spent. A monthly newsletter with student highlights. And you're going to be the first to know about volunteer and other engagement opportunities. So you become a VIP. I love these perks. This is not something that costs them a lot of money, but it's something that's exclusive and makes that monthly donor feel really special. I love this, a dedicated support person. So that when donors have questions about their monthly gift, they know exactly who to talk to. A testimonial from a donor, why they give monthly. Again, social proof is great because you want to join something that's already popular. And they have listed out their founding members, and I'm going to talk about what that is coming up next. So another great example. If I click into the donation page again, we've got a simple page with monthly giving locked in, and that's how they can give. So simple. All right, let's go back here. One thing I also we're going to drop in the chat for you is, you can not only learn from small nonprofits that and learning from them could be as easy as joining their program as a monthly giver and see what they do, but you also can learn from large nonprofits as well. So I did a blog piece that analyzed the top 20 monthly giving programs and lessons that you can learn from that. So be sure to click that in the chat, and that'll be an extra resource for you with a lot of lessons to learn there as well. See how I'm doing on time. Okay. All right. So you got your product ready, and now you're ready to launch. So what I want you to do is really look in your database, talk to your contacts, and figure out who are my top 25 most loyal, most dedicated people. That could be board members. That could be volunteers. That could be people who just give on a consistent basis. That you see that person makes that annual $100 donation every single year. These are people that can become your founders of your monthly giving program. You're not going to just blast out a big email to everybody on your list and say, hey, we have a monthly giving program now. Would you like to join? You are going to personally invite these first 25 people. Have conversations with them, personally invite them, say, we want you to be one of the first ones to do this. You are going to be an ambassador with us. After they've been giving for 2 or 3 months, solicit some testimonials from them. That's going to go on that dedicated page. Put their name on that dedicated page as founders. Give them the recognition that they deserve as a founder. It's a great way to launch. And then when you take it out to the broader public, you'll actually already have monthly givers. So they feel like they're joining something, again, that's already popular. If you maybe have had a monthly giving program for a while, but you're kind of stuck. I talked to a nonprofit last week that was stuck at 18 monthly givers. And my advice was, hey, reach out to those 18, tell them thank you for being early on and staying with us. Name them your founders, give them the recognition, get those testimonials from them, and you'll have the ability to kind of relaunch yourself to a broader audience. All right, let's talk about going to a bigger audience, growing your program. There's really 3 legs of the stool here. There is acquisition, there is retention, and there is upgrades. So let's talk a little bit about acquisition. The first thing before I want you to just kind of jump out and start, going out to get these new donors is maybe you've had a program for a while, maybe you've been working with these 25 founders for a while. It's a good time to see what's working, what's not, what they like about the program, get some feedback from them. Look at your stats like average donation size and how many donors you have. You're kind of going for an 80% retention rate, like I mentioned before. If you got anything below that, there's probably something going on that you want to fix. When you feel ready, take your recurring first mindset everywhere. So the campaigns that you do on social, the campaigns that you do on email, tweak your language to say we need a monthly gift. It helps us. Here's the reasons why it helps us, and here's why it's easy for you. Here's the impact that you can make. Become a recurring first kind of fundraiser. Partnerships are a great place to find new monthly donors. If you have like a really great corporate sponsor, I'm seeing nonprofits build donation pages that are co-branded and saying, hey, corporate sponsor, would you share our message with your employees and with your customers? And that just introduces you to a whole brand new set of people that you might not have access to. And one of the biggest things that I think can help you get more people into this program is advertising it at an event. Most nonprofits say, well, if I get my ticket sale and I get my sponsorship sale, that's what I want from my event. That's the revenue I want. But you're missing an opportunity, once or twice a year when you have this big event, you've got people in this room who they're there, they love you. Give them the opportunity to hear about this program, to hear about how they can help you long term. Have a recurring donor stand up and say, I'm a recurring donor because this reason. Would anybody here join me in this effort? Here's how you can give. If you just do that, I think you'll start to see more people gravitate towards monthly, which is going to help your retention and everything that we've been talking about. I see a lot of nonprofits work to convert one-time donors over to monthly. This is it really in the first 3 months that you get a new donor. This is a good time to do this. Sometimes you'll hit them with a welcome email series, like the emails might be first a thank you. You're making a difference. Second, here's how you're making a difference, share an impact story. And then finally, you can make a bigger difference if you join our monthly giving program. And you could do that over email, you could do that over phone calls, you could do that over direct mail, but putting a process in place that, oh, I've got a one-time giver that's just come to me. Let me get them over to monthly soon, because right now, right after they give is when they're most excited about being a part of your organization. All right, you're getting some new donors come in, but we've got to keep everybody who's giving to continue to give. It's really 4 steps to this. First 3 are there to help you stop what's called voluntary churn when they make a decision that they want to leave the program. The last one is about stopping involuntary churn when something goes wrong with the tech or the payments and they drop off. So, first thing you're going to want to do is be thankful. And that's really going beyond the just the receipt that comes out automatically from your donation page. I like a personal message of gratitude to come out within 48 hours. Could be email, could be a call, could be a handwritten card, anything like that. It's basically a welcome to the program. I do like to send monthly receipts every single month. What you're really doing there, that is a thank you touch point, and it trains the donor that you're going to get charged every month. And if you don't see this receipt, something is wrong. You're kind of training them on the monthly iteration of the donation. We've been talking a lot about impact. You want to share that impact. Those are the kind of the perks where the perks come in, maybe a monthly newsletter to show how they're making a difference, like KidWorks is doing. You definitely want to build community. There is a big social aspect to being part of a monthly giving club. So if you can organize small events, so this could be something, again, like behind the scenes tour, maybe a quarterly Zoom, maybe your board member is going to host the barbecue. You get people together, that's an opportunity to thank them. That's an opportunity to talk about your impact. And one of the biggest things about these that a lot of people don't think about is the social interaction. These people are like-minded. They believe in what you're doing. They want to get together and get to know each other and socialize and be part of this family or community. And that's what these small events can do. Of course, the tech, you gotta have that right. Use things like Account Updater, which can automatically update the cards for you. Donor portals that, hopefully donors are getting alerts from that portal that say, hey, you had uh, a payment failure. Your card's about to expire. That kind of stuff. The tech should do a lot of work for you, but you always want to make sure that you've got somebody monitoring your subscriptions to if there's anything that pops up, that you'll reach out to that donor. You'll have a process, whether that's reaching out on email, reaching out over the phone, or reaching out via direct mail. The third leg of the stool is upgrades. So this could be a huge revenue source here. Once somebody joins at $25 a month, you don't want them to stay at $25 a month for the whole possible 8 years that they may give to you. You want them to increase that 25 to 30 to 35 to 40. The best time you can ask for an upgrade is typically 10 to 12 months after they make their initial monthly giving enrollment. You certainly could set some things in your database to follow up with donors at that time and reach out for that upgrade. You're basically trying to communicate that, hey, thank you, you're making an impact. If you give a little bit extra, you can make a bigger impact. You're typically looking for about a third of the current gift. You want to make it as easy as possible for them to upgrade. So if you send them an email, have a link in that email that goes to what I call upgrade page that allows them to see their current level, choose an upgrade, and then confirm that. On our platform, we would suggest to a donor a 25% upgrade, a 33% upgrade, and a 50% upgrade, and then they can choose other as well. Make it easy, but definitely ask at least once a year, ask for an upgrade. If you're doing all the retention stuff right, and they understand the impact that they're making, they will be happy to do an upgrade with you. All right. Kind of finish up here with an example. I really like what this nonprofit is doing because of the community aspect. So this is a river crossing YMCA. This is a YMCA that crosses the border from New Jersey to Pennsylvania. And they launched a monthly giving program called the Cause Membership. So this is not like the typical YMCA kind of gym membership. This is a philanthropic membership that you can join at $10 a month. This specifically funds one program. So this is an example of a kind of a one program funding opportunity. They have something called the Pathways program, which they go, this is not a program inside the gym, it's something they do out in the community. And they will service teens and cancer survivors and veterans. They kind of partner up with lots of other groups to do this. They're serving about 15,000 individuals in their surrounding area. And the cause members, they become volunteers in those efforts to support the pathway programs. This is something that they launched in 2022. They launched it during the Giving Tuesday week and had tremendous amount of success with it. They signed up 173 recurring donors within 1 week, which is absolutely amazing. That's going way beyond the 25, that we're thinking about for that first round. How they get there? So they did targeted email outreach. They did personal outreach from the board, staff members, things of that nature. They put the offer for the cause membership everywhere inside the YMCA. So QR codes at the desk. Every staff member was made aware of the cause membership and was talking about it all week. If you joined the YMCA on the gym side, you got a welcome packet to say, hey, are you interested in cause membership? This is what we do and the program that it serves. All the while telling the story of the impact you're going to make and the fun you're going to have participating in this program. They did have incentives for board members. If you signed up the most people, you get a sweatshirt, that kind of stuff. So they made it a really fun campaign where everybody was involved. Definitely a recurring first mindset across the whole organization. I want to hone in on the perks, the benefits, because this is what I really like about this. So they had the typical stuff. You get a monthly newsletter. There's a little portal that you can log into and you can get little impact stories, we helped this veteran and this is how it's changed this person's life. They do have a gym side benefit where you can get wellness classes and get those online. They're doing all the kind of normal stuff, but I really love the fact that as a cause member, I get to volunteer, and this is an exclusive volunteer opportunity. So you're basically paying $10 a month to volunteer in the Pathways program. And as a volunteer, what does that do? That puts me on the ground with the program. So I get to see the impact that I'm making. I get the social interaction with the other volunteers. So I get to meet other cause members in this program, which makes me, there's that social aspect. It makes me want to stay in this program. Makes me want to upgrade because I see the work that's happening. This really is an example of how they use the volunteer thing to create community around this program. And this is something that's going to thrive for them in the future. So things to take away, if nothing else, embrace the recurring first mindset. You make monthly giving a thing in your organization. Make it easy. Make it easy to enroll, easy to stay in the program, easy to upgrade. In general, if you're being recurring first, you're probably talking about monthly giving everywhere. So you can typically focus a little less on acquisition and more on retention and upgrades. Make sure that the people that you do get into your program are really happy and they want to stay and they want to give you more money per month. And, the tech is going to be your friend, but this is all about relationship building. So the more you say thank you, the more you personally meet these donors and really build that community, the better off that you're going to be. We're going to drop a link in the chat. I have got a ton of resources on my blog about monthly giving. I've been writing about it for a long time and doing monthly giving with nonprofits for a long time. So there's lots of resources there. I hope that you'll visit and find those articles. We have a really good kind of 1, 2, 3 series on monthly giving that kind of goes through this whole presentation, but in more depth. So hopefully you'll have opportunity to take care of that. And with that, I just want to say that I really appreciate the opportunity to be here. This has been great, and I'd love to just kind of open the floor to questions, and I'm ready to hear them and ready to answer. So,
Well, thank you so much, Ronald. It is good to have all of this good information. I was kind of taking notes on several of the things that you mentioned. There was a comment in the chat about younger generations having checkbooks. I don't know if Tony is still on. And I'm just like, younger generations, I know I can't find my checkbook. So I don't even know where it is. But I do think it's funny that that was a comment in the chat. Any
my, but
questions?
I'll say both of my kids do not have
Have
checks.
check.
The bank doesn't offer it for what they use. So electronic and automatic is what they want. Absolutely. Go ahead with questions that you see there.
Terry made a comment. She said in her first letter to monthly donors, she gives them the option of receiving a monthly letter when they're in contact with them by sending a note, emails, and phone calls periodically to thank them. So I think this was in, at the part where you were talking about ways to make them feel special. Um,
Yeah, retention is that's a great retention strategy. They know a lot of times people think it's a set it and forget it. Like, oh, the donor, I don't want to remind the donor that, that they're giving to me every month. And no, you do. You do,
mm,
because if you don't, there are apps now that you can get, like Rocket Money, that you'll say, I have this subscription. What is this? I don't
mhm,
remember doing this. I never hear from them. I'm going to turn that off.
yeah.
We want to hear from you. So I love the idea that they're getting that communication on a regular basis. So
Terry, did you want to have anything, else to add? I know you made that comment about how you're stewarding them. I didn't know if you wanted to
Yeah,
add.
we only do it because a lot of times, and we started a program. We don't have a lot of monthly donors, but I mean, there are some that come in, and once we start sending things out, they're like, "Stop sending me letters." So that's why we offer them. This is the only time you're going to get this until the end of the year when we
mm,
send you out a statement, unless you request it. And most of the time, they never request it. And that's why we do other things. Like, I mean, I'll just send a quick email or a text if I have them, just saying, "Oh, just wanted to thank you again for supporting Easter Seals," and going from there, because they don't want paper from us all the time. So
yeah, yeah. And I like the idea of tracking their preferences. I think that's good because I like sending out that monthly receipt, that transactional thing every single month, because again, it kind of trains them that it ties them and says thank you every single month to that nonprofit. But if they don't want it, if there's an easy way to opt them out of that, that's great, because it sounds like you're doing the other type of retention communications to say thank you, to talk about impact, all that you're doing, all that good stuff. The rest of the year, they're seeing that, and that's what you want them to focus on, and less on the kind of tax deductibility and transactional parts of it. So I like that. So that's great.
Yeah. I know Tony was asking about e-checks or ACH, and I don't know, Tony, if this was in reference to Ronald's kids when he says that they don't have checks or they charge. But then Lucy did raise a question about pricing work. Okay, Tony, got it. About the pricing to use your platform.
Oh, well, not here to sell today, but for a good cause, you can start using for a good cause. It starts at 99 a month. It's based on how much you're raising in the platform. If you go to forgoodcause.com/pricing, it's all listed right there. And always happy to have a conversation afterwards with anybody that wants to chat. So it takes two monthly donors at our average, which is 63 a month, to pay for our software.
Yeah. Ronald, is it okay if I put your email in the chat as well
Oh,
for Lucy?
absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Ronald,
I'm
the
happy.
question,
If anybody just wants to chat monthly giving, if anybody just wants to chat. I do audits for a local group here for free. I mean, I do consulting for our clients. If you just want to chat and just want to hit me up with a question anytime, I'm always available.
the question was more specifically about the younger generation. If they don't have
Oh,
checks, is there still some other way that they can make an ACH payment versus our credit cards, which if you were with my bank, two of the very biggest banks, we're often getting our cards stolen. And replacing our cards. That's one of the reasons why our monthly donations are often declined. Is there some other way of getting an ACH transaction if you
Yeah,
don't
so
have a checkbook?
yeah, if you use my kids as an example, they both use the Bank of America app, and inside the app they can copy out their routing number and their checking account number. Yeah, so that information is still there for them. It's just electronically. It's
They don't
there
have
for
to
them.
have a checkbook.
No, no, no. They don't have to have a
Okay.
physical check. Although when I talk e-check a lot, if I'm explaining to people, you remember when you had a check, there was the number on the left, that's the routing number, and then you had on the to the right of that was the checking
Okay.
account number. I show my age when I do that, but uh, they don't have to have physical checks or anything like that. No.
Okay, great, great. Thanks for the translation. I
Yeah.
appreciate that.
And I'm telling you, it's a great way to go. It does save you a lot of money, 1.5% typically savings versus a credit card. And if you're seeing a lot of declines on the credit card side, you really want to look at your processing in general. Am I being too strict? Am I declining too many cards just for the overall rules that you have on the processing? Am I requiring a perfect address and all, little things like that? And then the next step is to set up alerts that go to donors and to the nonprofit. Hey, cards expiring next month. Your payment failed. And link them into their donor portals and make sure that staff are keeping an eye on that. Um, we use a little subscription dashboard, and if you see a little yellow triangle, that means something went wrong, and that's a donor that you want to reach out to keep them on track.
Okay, I know there were some extra comments in the chat about moving away from credit cards and some people turning off credit cards and forgetting. So definitely want to recognize that. Okay, well, I want to say thank you again, Ronald, for joining us and for presenting. And I want to thank everyone for being a part of our discussion. If you have future topics or speakers that you would like to recommend, please feel free to reach out to AADO and send your suggestions along. I did want to put the link for our upcoming conference, which will be at the Emory Hotel and Conference Center in Atlanta, Georgia. And so we are certainly excited about all things related to the conference and our newly released keynote speaker, who is Tanisi Coates. I always say his name incorrectly.
And by the way, he writes for Marvel Comics among other things. I'm a big nerd, so I love him. He's great. He's awesome.
Yes, so please make plans to join us in September. And thank you all again. Ronald, thank you. And I hope each of you have a great rest of the day and a great weekend.
Thanks, everybody. Appreciate the opportunity to be here. We'll talk soon.
Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.